Frustrating video games are the cuts that'd heal if you stopped prodding it. They'll compel you to give it another go, to willfully subject yourself to pain over and over again. See, in the struggle lies satisfaction. Whether it's scaling a mountain, destroying the mothership, or KOing round 2, it's the endorphin rush of success over adversity that keeps the most frustrating video games amongst the most popular, proving that pleasure is in the journey, not the destination. Fight the urge to rage quit with our rundown of the most frustration-inducing games you'll want to keep playing. Celeste. Pixel-perfect platformer Celeste has you take control of Madeline as she climbs the titular mountain, confronting her inner demons as she journeys to the summit. If any game on this rundown exemplifies your inner monologue taunting you for one more go, it's this. Celeste is savage. Dashing Madeline over deadly spikes and hopping up vertical cliffs takes a demanding level of precision. You will die a lot. However, death in this game passes by in the blink of an eye. The transition from death to rebirth is so short and so streamlined, it's the game's way of encouraging you to keep on trying, and try again you will. Minutes become hours, become days, stuck on the same screen. Despite the challenge increasing to almost laughable levels across the B-sides, C-sides, and mind-numbingly impossible farewell DLC, Celeste never feels unfair. Its demand for precision is tormentor and saving grace. Soulsborne. Yes, Soulsborne isn't a single game, but an uncompromisingly brutal series. It's an obvious pick, but you didn't think that we'd publish a list of frustrating video games without mentioning the influential From Software titles, did you? Soulsborne games are famous for their sheer hellish difficulty. Souls-like is shorthand for any game that'll make gamers scream into a pillow. Beating Soulsborne games are an act of brute force determination. Whilst the difficulty is indeed sadistic, From Software's titles are equally famous for their world building. From Dark Souls' crumbling medieval castles and Bloodborne's gothic-tinged townships to mystical feudal Japan in arguably the most challenging From Software title, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. It's the alluring tangibility of these worlds that draws you back in, begging for the sweet release of death. With the recently revealed gameplay trailer for Elden Ring, it looks as though From Software aren't planning on toning down the struggle anytime soon either. FTL Faster Than Light. Subset Games' roguelike Space Voyager cum combat strategy simulator has you delivering secret data to the Galactic Federation headquarters, with the rebellion in hot pursuit across the galaxy. There is ample opportunity throughout your journey to upgrade your spacecraft's weapons and defense systems, and hire extra crew members with skills you can upgrade. Typical for roguelikes, FTL comes with a looming threat of permadeath just one poor decision away. Battle your way to the final sector, and all that stands between you and certain victory in the galactic war is the Rebel flagship. Picture this. Your shields are fully powered, lasers charged, attack drones ready, crew upgraded, and you're obliterated in a matter of minutes. Turns out that this Rebel flagship is not to be trifled with. In fact, it's ridiculously overpowered. Prepare to weep as your battle-hardened, fully upgraded spacecraft is blown to smithereens. Redout. Breakneck racer Redout is Wipeout's flashy next-door neighbour, trying to one-up the pinnacle of anti-gravity racers with its faster ships and technical topsy-turvy tracks. And like the neighbour who likes to show off, Redout has a lot of style without always delivering the substance. For instance, did we mention that Redout is fast? There's no denying its speed is addictive. There's even a trophy on offer for players who break the speed of sound. Cool, right? Problem is, combining face-melting speed with overly contorted track design means gameplay often resembles a bowling ball zigzagging down a bowling alley. Maybe you just need to get good. Well, Redout doesn't insist on practice either, as progression is super easy. You can quite literally bounce your way through a race and still unlock the next track. Ikaruga. Putting the hell in bullet hell, Ikaruga sees you pilot your way through 5 stages of nauseating aerial death. Shmups are hard, but what makes Ikaruga so darn frustrating? Answer, its polarity mechanic. Basically, you need to change the color of your fighter to black or white to absorb bullets of the same color. Enemy ships are black or white too, and the best strategy to destroy them depends on your bullet color. What does this mean for gameplay though? Well, the split-second mental gymnastics demanded of the player are simply overwhelming. The game is often ablaze in bullets and enemies, with the slightest touch costing a previous life. Inevitably, the thrill dampens as you're stuck in the morbid cycle of blow up, respawn, and then immediately blow up again. The 0.1% who've honed their piloting skills will experience an alternative Ikaruga, a beautifully kaleidoscopic bullet shooter. Seriously, if you haven't even seen this game in action, you owe it to yourself to check it out, though it may be best to save your strength and watch a playthrough on YouTube. Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge. Harking back to a bygone time of point-and-click adventures, Monkey Island sees wannabe pirate Guybrush Threepwood island hop throughout the Caribbean, seeking to win the love of Elaine whilst defeating his arch-nemesis, zombie pirate LeChuck. The much-loved second game in the series, LeChuck's Revenge, features story-driven puzzles and whimsical humour that makes the series so famous. Unfortunately, LeChuck's Revenge is also littered with baffling, nonsensical puzzles. Hands up who played this game back in the pre-internet days before walkthroughs. Now, keep your hands up if you solved the, spoiler alert, monkey wrench puzzle without losing your cool. What about the bone puzzle in LeChuck's Fortress? Didn't think so. The solution to these puzzles relied on player trial and error rather than any semblance of logic whatsoever. 6V. If you're wondering why Terry Kavanagh called his space station gravity inversion-a-thon VVVVVV, it'll become painfully obvious within 2 minutes of playtime. You see, 6V is quite obviously spikes, of which the game has a lot, and you'll fall into them a lot, and fall upside down into them also a lot. The infuriating genius of 6V is it toys with your muscle memory. Normally, when you reach a ledge in any platform game, you jump. Not so in 6V. No, hitting jump, or rather the action button, inverts your character's direction of gravity. Avoiding spikes, timing action to hit moving platforms, rising screens. 6V is a world where the ceiling is as valid as the floor, offering a ton of unique ways to traverse a level. It just so happens to be extremely counterintuitive too, so you'll spend ages jumping when you should be falling, or vice versa. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is arguably the most exciting game in the Street Fighter 2 canon. It's got super combos, more speed, secret characters. Perfection is rarely realised in games. The major disappointment with this game is its shoddingly implemented difficulty in arcade mode. Basically, it's fixed to super hard. You can turn down the difficulty meter all the way down to 0, but you're still getting pummeled. Of course, Street Fighter arcade machines are designed to beat the money out of you anyway. Turbo machines, however, have you frantically inserting more coins just to get another go against a mind-reading arcade machine that won't let you spam Hadouken your way out of trouble. If the traumatic memories weren't distressing enough, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection failed to fix Turbo's unruly difficulty spike. They produced a flawless replica of the flawed arcade version, dealing a 100-hand slap in the face to legions of fans. King Oddball. A moon wearing a crown drops rocks onto exploding tanks via its extremely long tongue. I mean, of course it does. King Oddball is a strange physics-based puzzler, but gameplay is straightforward enough. All the player must do is let go of the rocks. Simple. Things start out easy enough. 1 tank, 3 rocks, job done. But don't get too comfy, for soon enough there are more tanks, and they're hiding behind breeze blocks, and there are soldiers. Suddenly, 3 rocks aren't nearly enough. Fear not though, as figuring out the solution to the puzzle is the easy bit. It's the small matter of mastering the perfect timing of the moon's tongue swings back and forth that'll wear you out. Somehow the physics, which flow like leaves in a breeze anyway, becomes a nightmare to manage as more enemies appear. Be prepared to lose hours of your life staring into the dark eyes of the moon. Cuphead. The game that could easily have inspired this rundown. Cuphead melds 1930s art style with tough-as-nails gameplay. Seriously, this is a hard one, folks. In this game, Cuphead bops through with his sidekick Mugman, looking to brawl with the most sadistic characters ever committed to cell animation. Throughout the bouts, of which there are plenty, your opponent's movement and attack patterns must be observed closely, for attacking their weakness is key to beating them. Learning your opponent's tactics throughout fierce multi-stage fights takes ages, requiring an insane amount of willpower. These bosses are cocky too. The carnation flower taunts you as it dances during battle, and the creepy clown has time to gleefully blow up balloons. Oh, and another thing, they absorb Cuphead's bullets like a flippin' sponge. The Lion King. 1994's The Lion King might not seem as irritating as Ghosts and Goblins, but the reason The Lion King gets the pick for this rundown is this. Its iconic status, coupled with a gorgeous colour palette and uplifting music, only serves to mislead, for this is your gateway to hell on earth. So much about The Lion King is infuriating. The early game giraffes with their bopping heads, the impossible elephant graveyard, the unclimbable waterfall. Oh, the horrors of the waterfall with its teeny tiny ledges. Pro Evolution Soccer 6. Balancing teams in football games is essential. You know this, and your mates know this. Load up a Pro Evo of old, and whilst you could choose London FC as your mate chooses Lancashire Athletic, you know that it wouldn't be fair. You both realise that facing off against each other with evenly matched teams means individual prowess should win the match, with no room for pitiful loser excuses. Well, Konami decided to rip up the rulebook when it released PES 6. And how, you might ask? We've got one word for you: Adriano. With 99 shot power, the Brazilian forward was so overpowered compared to practically every other player in the game that a matchup against your mate became a race to see who could select Inter Milan first. You get Inter, you get Adriano. You score from the halfway line. Cue the Inquisition. Super Monkey Ball. Cute, charming monkeys rolling through playful maze-like platforms. What's not to love? Indeed, Sega's first console game released after the demise of the Dreamcast and gained a lot of fans when it was ported to the Nintendo GameCube. It was a launch title after all. Watching someone play Super Monkey Ball, chaperoning those lovable little monkeys to the goal, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a simple case of thumbstick directs ball. Well, if you thought this, you'd be wrong. Very wrong. In a delightfully devilish twist, the player actually controls the platform. You've got to tilt the environment to control the ball's speed and direction. With constant under-momentum and overcorrection, Super Monkey Ball is one of those games where you can see your run is leading to catastrophe seconds before it does, but you're powerless to stop it. Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. One of the most blatant attempts at frustrating game design in video gaming history. Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy sees the player scales a mountain while sitting in a cauldron using nothing but a hammer. You rotate your computer mouse, or if you want to experience true pain, a trackpad, thus rotating the hammer to latch onto ledges that propel the player upward. With no save points, you risk losing all progress should you miss a tricky obstacle, and you can be certain disaster will strike. Clumsily gyrating a hammer with a mouse will make sure of that. In these moments, hurtling back to the start when all hope is lost Bennett chimes in with these less than comforting words. There is nothing more intense than starting over. You said it, Bennett. Astro Warrior. Originally released in 1986 on the Sega Master System, this vintage top-down shooter has players guide the Astro Warrior across 3 epic stages, culminating in a battle against the Devil Star Imperial Force mothership. Astro Warrior is somewhat of a pioneer. Its power-ups are dotted throughout the missions, and its increasing enemy intensity was revolutionary, laying the foundation for the shmup brain melters we loathe today. Infuriatingly enough, these power-ups prove disappointingly useless. You can level up your primary weapon from 1 bullet to 3, but this isn't much use when your ship can only fire forwards anyway. Increasing ship speed isn't an advantage either, especially as the screen rapidly fills up with unavoidable enemies and bullets. And that most frustrating thing once again, permadeath. Lose your 3 lives and you start over, effectively wasting the time you've spent trying to blast the mothership. Power-ups are blown to pieces too, although maybe that's not such a bad thing. And that's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Bolt.